6th of February, Rabbi Furst, Pierke Avos.
Yo.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Roy.
Good morning, Roy. Good morning, Rabbi. Good morning, Meir.
Morning.
Barry.
Good
Morning,
morning.
everyone.
Morning,
Okay.
all. Okay, now we got that out.
Good morning to all. This is Rabbi Shlomo Fursti, Yeshiva Samanavshi here in Shalim, Care Zoom. We're learning in our first year this morning, Pierke Avos, the Maimer of Rabbi Akiva. And we continue on with the Protos Yom Tov. I'll put it on the screen. I think we're doing the last two paragraphs of your document.
Kizos.
Says here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is the continuation. We're in the last two, the second from the bottom paragraph, words beginning Hainu Taima, Shizugam came at Yeah, yeah. Who would do a little bit reading to begin with here this morning?
I do.
Okay, we can begin, Lou, if you like, unless there's any objections.
V'hainu Tama Shezu Gamkain.
Yep.
Gamkain, correct.
And is the reason for this also Midivrei ha chochama tochacha in the words of rebuke.
Chastisement.
What?
Rebuke, that's fine.
Yeah.
In the words of rebuke, lehochicham, for rebuking. Is that the same word twice?
Emphasize.
Yeah,
the double watching is an emphasis.
Right, that's to chastise them, right? That it's divrei rebuke, that they are rebuking them. The mem sofit makes it a plural conjugation.
V'lomar shehem nivra'u b'tzelem, and to say that they are created in the image.
Right. Those words themselves, right, they themselves are a words of chastisement, a rebuke, because they're being told that they're on a madrega. I mean, they've been created, and we're talking about B'nai Noach now, right? The B'nai Noach, they've been created on a madrega, and that madrega has with it inherent responsibilities. If a person doesn't think he's on a madrega, right, so he won't assume any responsibilities. That's the whole purpose of the non-believers when they want to propose the idea, the foolishness that there was an evolution of the species, that they are trying to renege on their responsibilities by saying, well, there's nothing special about us, right? Just a process that developed. And so therefore, with that process, the fact that we're products of a process has no inherent responsibilities. But when you're admitting and faced with the fact that you've been created with B'Tselem Elokim, so that automatically contains with it the understanding of responsibilities, because you've been especially and particularly created in a fashion that's different than everything else in the world. And that special care that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to the creation of Adam bears with it those responsibilities because of that special care that he was created with.
Ube'ezet tselem nivra'o b'tselem Elokim. And with this image,
With which? Be'eza,
Right, be'ez is with which
With
Selim
which.
Hebrew.
with which image he
were they created?
were they created with the
B'Tselem
image
Elohim,
of God?
Hashem's image.
Right. So
Hashem's
this
image.
is like this is read like a rhetorical question. Ube'ezet Tzela Nivra b'Tselem Elokim. Meaning he's trying to emphasize the poignancy of the rebuke here. Meaning it's not simply any image that you were created in, right? It would be enough to be created in any specific image. There was no, I mean, all the other creations that went into the existence of the universe, they weren't created in any tselem whatsoever, right? But Adam was created with tselem, and it was created with tselem Elohim. So there's one stage of rebuke that, since they created specially with tselem, that is going to obligate them in certain responsibilities, and there's even more responsibilities now, because be'ez et tselem nivru, and what tselem were they created with? But the tselem Elohim, with the tselem Elohim, which is even a higher level of responsibility.
Kamor she ha bria haisa b'tselem Elokim, as to say that the people were in the image of God. Aval,
So again, we mentioned, and we'll be discussing, if we finish this document today, I'll try and prepare another document that'll go into these things in more detail. But again, as I mentioned last week, there's a big difference that some of the Meforshim explain. The word bitselem with a bays bitselem is much different than the word kiselem with a chafadimin. Chafadimin, there would be some type of similarity to the tselem of Elohim, but that's not impossible. That's impossible. So therefore, it was the phraseology of bitselem Elohim that we were created with the tselem Elohim. That means there's something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu used, especially, that was a divine type of a mold or model by which Adam was created. And that was something which was specifically developed and designed especially for Adam. And we'll go into this more as we go on later this week, Be'ez Hashem. B'Tselem Elohim, that the bria of Adam was through B'Tselem, through that image or that model, that prototype of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu created specially for Adam. Zigazon.
thank you. Aval ho'il ve'enam mikayamim mitzvosav, but perhaps
Since.
it was not.
You know, they are not. They are not Mekayimim.
Mikayim is established.
Fulfilling, supporting,
Fulfilling.
upholding. That's the best word, upholding.
Upholding or fulfilling. They're not fulfilling their mitzvahs. They're not doing their job.
They're not fulfilling the mitzvahs, but afal pi, and even though she'im mikayamim enam mikayamim mipnei asher tziva osam Elokim, even though that they are fulfilling, they are not fulfilling because of the command that was commanded to them by God.
Right. So there's two things. One, on one hand, they are not fulfilling the mitzvahs that they were given, the Zion mitzvahs b'nei Noach. They're not fulfilling those mitzvahs. And even if you'll find that there are certain instances where they are fulfilling mitzvahs, let's say they do have so-called courts of law, they do have certain ordinances, statutes, and governmental and legal decrees by which they should run a civil society. But they're not doing that because of the mandate from a Kadosh Baruch Hu to do this. They're doing it simply because it makes common practical sense to do that, right? So they don't get credit for doing the mitzvah strikas kavana, right? Right?
What
Person
if
wants
a
to-
person is a person who says he believes in God, but it's another religion? Like, let's say it's Christianity. Do we say that he's doing it because he believes in God, or we say, well, that's not really God, so he doesn't get credit for that?
I don't know. It would all depend. I mean, sometimes they have a certain emunah, they have a certain belief in a creator, right? They may have a certain belief in that a Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world. They may even have a certain belief that Kadosh Baruch Hu was running the world. So if they have that, if they excuse me, if they have that understanding in that belief, I guess I imagine they get somewhat of a credit for that, right? They're not considered to be atheists, and not necessarily considered to be idol worship either. So they get credit for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hine haim chasirim be'emes mi yidias Elokim. So behold, they are lacking in truth.
Right, exactly, right.
From the oneness of God.
Well, miyadi is the realization, the acknowledgement, and knowledge of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Meaning they don't have they're lacking that true knowledge of a Kadosh Baruch Hu.
V'ha kasuv she'omer b'tzelem Elokim. Asay.
Also, they were made in the tselem of Kadosh Baruch Hu. Also, they were made.
They were made. Lomar, to say Shchein Nivra O. The thusly they were made, they were created.
That in this way they were made. Meaning, B'Tselem Elokim is this is what we're going to discuss later this week, Brother Hashem. There's this expression of B'Tselem Elokim. It's describing the way Adam was created, right? It's not describing the essence of what Adam is, right? But it's describing the way he was created. He was created in a special way, B'Tselem Elokim, right? Thusly he was created. He was created thusly, meaning, like if you, for example, if you would say that you had a carpenter, right? So you would say he used his saw and his hammer to or take this week's parsha, the parsha's truma, right? So you had this, for example, the cruving, right? You had to take a mixture, you had to take a solid block of gold, right? And you had to pound it and to make it of one essence of the two kruvim and the top plate for the aron. So by pounding it, you would arrive at this parachus, right? Kaporas. And so you would say it was made with the hammer. It was made with the hammer, right? Because it was made through the pounding of the hammer. So likewise, Adam was created b'tselem Elokim, whatever that, we'll try and understand what that tselem is. and whatever that tselem is, that's how Kadosh Baruch Hu formed and created Adam.
Klomar, shehi haisa konas ha-bria.
That's kavanis. Shahaisa kavanis habriya.
Oh,
The Adam.
to say that he intended, there was an intention
In the creation of Adam, there was a
creation of
there was an intention in the creation of Adam.
Shehiyeh lo hashaga.
That's what it's in. That's hasaga.
Hasaga.
Sichlis. Hasaga sichlis.
Sichlis. What is hasada? Hasaga?
Hasaga is a type of level of understanding. Hasaga, a person has a certain hasaga, he has a certain realization.
Okay, so that's to say that there was an intention in the creation of a man that there would be for him an understanding. What is schilis?
Sichlis, like there should be an intelligent realization. Adam has been created in a way that he can intelligently realize. Sichlis is intelligence, right? Hasaga is a realization. So Adam was created in a way that he should have a intelligent realization.
Migas leyidias Elokim. What is migas?
Should achieve, right?
Achieve?
Right, should achieve knowledge of a Kadosh Baruch Hu.
He was created. Adam was created with a intelligence to recognize or realize that that he was created to achieve the intelligent recognition that he was created by God.
Yedias Elokim, he doesn't say that doesn't say that he should realize that he was created by God, but he was created by God in a way that he should come to a intelligent realization of knowing a Kadosh Baruch Hu, of being aware of Kadosh Baruch Hu.
He was created with an intelligence to realize that there had to be a Borei Olam.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
Right. Meaning, you know, if you take a human and take an ape or a chimpanzee, some monkey. So you look at the anatomy, and to a certain extent, it's very, 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 very similar, right? But the monkeys, they're missing a very crucial understanding in terms of their intelligence, that they don't have the ability to come to the conclusion of having an understanding and a realization of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? They simply don't have it. They don't have it, and they don't have a lot of other things too, which with the power of speech and the other things, right? I mean, I don't think you'll you look over the last several thousand years, and you don't find any monkey Hall of Fame of or monkey inventors Hall of Fame. You know, monkeys haven't invented anything in the last 1,000 years or so, have they, Barry?
I'm checking. I'm Googling right now to find out.
Okay. If you find out that a monkey invented something, let me know, and we'll market that. Okay.
Yeah, to the monkey.
Right. So humans were created with this intelligence that they're able to achieve a realization of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. because that was the whole purpose of creation. What did we come into this world for? We didn't come into this world for eating, drinking, sleeping, achieving fame, fortune, and the pursuit of pleasure. That's not why we were created. That's not a Jewish outlook at all. We were created in order to come to a certain realization of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's existence. And because that's the whole purpose of Olam Hazeh. Olam Hazeh is the opportunity for the neshama, which has been thrust into the physical body and put into a physical world. And in a physical body, in a physical world, the neshama, which is that spiritual component, which is alive within us, we're supposed to use our intelligence to come to a conclusion of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's existence in the midst of a physical body, in the midst of a physical world. And that's in order that we can eventually achieve a spiritual reward in the next world, in the spiritual world of Olam Haba. So when there's no physical barriers between the neshama, the soul, and the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to the extent that the soul was allowed and achieved Yedias Elokim, knowledge of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in this physical world, that's going to be proportionally the reward that it's going to have in the world to come, in the spiritual world. Because if a person can achieve Yedias Elokim, knowledge of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the physical realm, so it'll be that much easier for him to have a experience of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and a knowledge of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the spiritual world, because all the physical barriers will be done away with. So that's the whole purpose of our being created. But yeah, unfortunately, you have the false philosophies that they believe that there's no purpose in being in this world, except that just as the animals come in and they do their animalistic existence through the time when they're alive in this world. So those humans that believe that they have an animalistic existence, and the time that they're in this world, they act like animals. So they don't achieve any knowledge of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So then there's very little that they can hope and expect to benefit from Olam Haba in the spiritual worlds. Okay.
Aval lefi she be'emes lo yad'o velo yavino, but in accordance with truth, they don't know and they don't understand. Uve chashicha yis halachu, and they walk in darkness.
Right.
Velo yatzah hakona. Hakavana. What's yatzah, to take out?
So, yeah, well, this is the finish the sentence. Below yotza kavana ela poil. They don't bring the kavana, the intention of what they were created for, ela poil, into reality, minaroya, properly. They don't bring it into proper reality. So again, let's look at the last sentence again. Emes, according to the truth, lo yadu velo yavinu, they don't know and they don't understand. And in darkness they walk. And they don't fulfill the intention of their creation to its proper actualization.
Oh, the intention of creation. Oh, the intention.
That's the kavanah. That's the kavanah. He mentioned the word kavanah. Look at one line up. If you the first word in line kolom, shaya hayis kavanas abriya ha'adam shu hasagas siklis migas l'dias elkim. The kavanah, the intention of creating Adam, he should have an intelligent realization that it will achieve for him a knowledge of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. According to the truth of the matter is, lo yada, they don't know, lo yavino, they don't understand, they walk in darkness. Lo yotzi kavana, that kavana was mentioned in the previous sentence, the kavana to create Adam, that he should achieve understanding and realization of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That kavana was lo yotzia kavana elapol min haroy. It didn't achieve that proper realization, actualization of that intention properly. Sheomer shenivru b'tzelem, that it should be said that they were created b'tzelem.
Okay, I think I understand.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
a big bite we just bit off.
You wanted, and we can discuss it. It is a big bite. It's a very big bite. That's the whole purpose of it says clearly, B'Tselem Melakim. Now, why did the Kadosh Baruch Hu create us B'Tselem Melakim? Because we have a certain job to do in this world, and that's to realize the Kadosh Baruch Hu. You're supposed to, in the many different ways, the Kadosh Baruch Hu creates the world and puts a person in different situations in his situation in life. He's supposed to eventually come, and the earlier the better. He's supposed to come to a realization of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? That was the great achievement of Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu was the first person who actually did this, right? And he went ahead and taught other people to do it as well, right? So that's the whole purpose of our being created, to achieve this realization of Hashem.
Rabbi, I have a question about about Avram Avinu teaching all of this. We don't find other than Yitzhak, we don't find a great following of Abraham that continued on. Where were they? Where are they? All that came out was just Baruch Hashem Yitzhak, but these these many followers that he had, we don't see any continuance in history.
So the Rambam explains a little bit of this, that it's true he had many thousands of followers, right? But they were basically influenced by his Avraham Avinu's personal influence. So but he did nevertheless bequeath to the world the fact that there's any belief in a Kadosh Baruch Hu in the world today is directly attributable to Avraham Avinu. So in fact, much of what the world does believe about a Kadosh Baruch Hu, unfortunately, in the recent past 100 years, it's declined greatly. But except for those places where they were involved with the Avodah Zorah and idol worship, many of the nations that were knowledgeable of Avram Avinu and the Torah. So even the non-Jews had a very strong belief in a Kadosh Baruch Hu and many of the basic understandings that Avram Avinu taught to the world. So people they didn't go ahead and start their own religions based on Avram Avinu, but nevertheless, the influence of Avram Avinu is still very, very great.
So this statement that they don't know, they don't understand, they walk in darkness, that's a statement of truth.
Right.
But the context is, I think the context is that they should know.
Exactly. They've been given the fact that it's either or. Either all of humanity is created in Tselem Elokim, in which they are obligated, each and every one of the humans that walk the face of the earth from the time of Adam Rishon's creation until now and until the very end of time. If that's fact that they were created with Tselem Elokim, so they have an obligation and the ability and the potential to realize what they have to realize about the Kadosh Baruch Hu and what he expects from them. And if they don't, right, so there's something wrong here, right? The fact that they're not realizing this and not understanding this, and they're walking in darkness is a disease of some sort, right?
So is there an implication of culpability in that phrase? Or is it an
Definitely so.
indication of that they're ignorant? They just don't know. They're in the dark.
No, they're definitely culpable because Hashem has given them the ability to realize it. That's the first mitzvah of the Zion mitzvah B'nai Noach, that they have to realize and acknowledge the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Exactly, if they have to realize and acknowledge the Kadosh Baruch Hu as a Jewish person does, that's not necessarily the same, but they have to realize and acknowledge the Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Weiter?
Sure.
Vel-
Yeah, go ahead, Luke.
Velo b'tzelem Elokim acharei shehakavana shehi ha-shagas Elokim lo nishlama. So and not in the image of God after that the intention.
Well, here, achre means since. I think achre in this word means since. Since
Oh,
that the
since that the intention is that the shagas of God is not repaid.
is not perfected, has not been perfected. Meaning, and so it's possible. He's suggesting here it's possible that advantage of Tzelem Elohim could be lost since they're not realizing it to its true perfection.
So in other words, they because of God's intention in creating people in such a way that we should recognize that God created us in that way. Since that's not properly recognized, then we have failed to perfect God's intention.
Right, and we failed to perfect the intention of our creation by God.
Ve'ein behem ella hakana bilvad. What's hakana?
I'm wondering myself. It's a difficult word here. Hakana. Let me try and find out. I'd like to get a good translation for you on this word. Hakana. It could be. Could be there's this. Well, it's lacking the vav. To kind of right. Okay, it's like only it's only the framework. They only have the framework. Since they haven't achieved right the intention of B'Tselem Elohim, right? So it's only the framework. It's only the framework that they have. They only achieve like the framework of the intention of their creation.
What does that mean?
Here, let's go to learn. And I think next sentence will help qualify this statement. We'll understand better the next sentence. Go to the next sentence. We'll see.
V'osa roy lahakra tzelem bilti hanismach shehu Elokim. and this is proper for the verse of the image. What's bilti?
Bilti hanismach, without the nismach, meaning hanismach literally means the word that's attached to it, right? So here it's like an adverb. I mean, not an adverb, but a pronoun. Could be a pronoun. It's tselem elokim. They're just meaning it should be called they should be called simply tselem without the word elokim attached to it.
Oh. So in other words, I see. So the framework is referring to the fact that they're only understanding part of the picture. They're seeing that it's the image, but they're not seeing the image of what?
Right, meaning they've been given the potential to achieve an understanding, but they haven't perfected and haven't achieved that understanding. So therefore, they're only been given the image by which they can achieve, but they haven't achieved the goal.
Zet nivra li. This seems to me. Pardon?
You go ahead. Yeah, generally, this appears to me good. Right, very good.
This appears to me bifi.
The parish. The explanation.
The explanation. Me amar Rabbi Akiva.
So he says this seems to be the explanation of the statement of Rabbi Akiva.
Okay. Ulafi zeh medakdek yafeh hamishna she'achar zu hakol tzavui b'kulei.
Right. Okay. That's the next mission that follows this. We'll get to that. We'll try and understand that later. That's something else. Okay. So he says, according to this explanation, it works out very good the phraseology that Rabbi Akiva used in this case, and it also matches very well with the mitzvah to follow, as he'll explain when we get to it.
Okay, so in other words, he's summarizing and saying that this is the explanation of Rabbi Akiva. When Rabbi Akiva says that the fact that we're created the Tselem Elohim in the image of God is something that we should be able to figure out on our own.
Right.
And therefore, all people are obligated to recognize Hashem and to follow the Torah as appropriate to them.
Right.
And if they don't, then we who do have an obligation to teach them or to kill them.
That'll be like the Rambam said. Yeah, that's going back to what the Rambam said. Correct.
Okay.
Let's try and finish up. Let's see this last paragraph.
Od shegam bezeh yesh gam kain chava yisera.
That's the Chiva Yisera, the extra belovedness that Hashem disposed upon us, meaning Klal Yisrael.
Belovedness. So furthermore, that also in this, there is also an additional belovedness. Nodas be Israel in the knowledge of the Jews.
So was that, I mean, it was like it was made known to the Jews. It was revealed to the Jews.
Is made known to the Jews. She'afal pi, that even though shekavar chavavam kamo lechol adam, even though that already they are beloved.
Yeah, like even though that they're already cherished, they're already beloved, like everybody, the Tzelem Elohim.
Like all people, B'Tselem Elokim, who created in the image of God, Asher Asu Bo, that he made them. Al Pi Kain, Lo Zaz, B'Chavavan, Od. Therefore, what is the word Zaz?
Literally means to move, but I think in this context, Afal Pikin Lo Zaz Mechavim Od Yosef. Even though the Shem loves every Jew, just like he is fond of every other human that's created B'Tselem Elokim, nevertheless, he didn't hesitate. Lo Zaz, I think he did not hesitate. He didn't hesitate from cherishing them even more.
I see. Od bioter she'im she'es v'yoser az shenik ra'u banim limkom.
Lamakom. That's a reference to
Lamakom. So it's that they're go ahead.
Yeah, see, it's a little bit hard because he's using a phrase from a pasuk. That even in spite of this, that they're already cherished, he didn't hesitate. He didn't hesitate from having them be more even fond, even more so, because we always nikra banim lamakom, that in the with the greater strength of their relationship, they're called banim lamakom, meaning as an expression of the greater endearness that a Kadosh Baruch Hu has, they're called banim lamakom. They're called children of a Kadosh Baruch Hu.
And we're talking now about everybody?
No, this is Klal Yisrael. Only Klal Yisrael is called banim. Only Jews are banim to the Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Okay, so when did we switch? We said L'chol Adam B'Tselem Elokim.
Because that's going back to Rabbi Akiva. He's going into Rabbi Akiva's actual statement. Rabbi Akiva made several statements. He made a statement about Tzelem Elokim, and that Chaviv Adam, that's humans, then Chaviv Yisrael, Klal Yisrael, and also he gave them the Torah as a special gift to show they're even more cherished than the rest of the world.
V'zeh she'es v'ma'ala yisera, and this is increased more or lifted up more.
It's an even greater status. Mila is like a status. It's even greater status that Klal Yisrael enjoys beyond the rest of the people in the world.
Uva kli chamda
Kli Chemda, right?
Kli Chemda, that's a person, right?
No, Kli Chemda is the implement, the exclusive implement that Akash gave to us.
Oh, right. He Torah is the Torah. The exclusive implement is the Torah. Asher Nasan Lahem, that he gave to them. Vizahu Oz, and it is their strength. Ke'inyan Shne'amar, like the subject that is discussed. Hashem Oz L'amo Yitain. Hashem will give strength to his people. That's it.
Right. That's so there are three levels, as the Kiva basically explained. There's a level of Selameliki where every human is given the innate ability to come to the realization, acknowledgement, and understanding of the Kodesh Baruch Hu, and to fulfill at least the minimal Zion mitzvahs b'nei Noah. And then even more so, you have on Israel that they are especially associated with Kodesh Baruch Hu being called Banim. And more than that, they're not only just being called Banim, but they also have been given a special way of coming closer and closer to Kodesh Baruch Hu, which is the Torah that is given to Klal Yisrael. Okay, very good. Fine. Thank you, Lou. That's very good. We're going to try and now I'll try and prepare another document later today on the opinion of the Shalom, what is worthwhile trying to understand what Shalom means. And we'll take a break now, and we'll be starting, remember, we'll be starting Hilchos Purim. That's Chelik Vav in your Mr. Brewer, right? Chelik Vav in Mr. Brewer, Hilchos Purim. We'll be doing that in a few minutes. And in the meantime, Roy, you should have a good afternoon. Hope to see you
Thank you.
tomorrow.
Be well. Be well. I'll see you.
Everyone